Okay guys, so in this video we're just going to wrap up this project. Okay, so what I've done here is I've implemented these text reveal animations. Obviously in the last videos we made this video section here with the overlaid text. Then we did this project section, fully responsive, so it works on desktop and mobile. And then now we're just going to implement this blog section here where the blog post will come into the viewport. So we've got this nice sort of glass morphism effect as well. And then as we scroll, we get that kind of overlaid blog post effect, and we use the scaling to make it, look like they're going back into fading into the background. And then we're just going to implement this kind of circular animation here on scroll with that overlaid text. And then when we get to the bottom of this section, we'll have this animated text come into the frame, and then we'll finally finish off with this end video here, and then this kind of final reveal animation. So yeah, there's a lot to cover in this video, but I'll try and go through it as quickly as possible and we can wrap up this project. So thanks for watching guys, and let's jump in. Thanks. Okay guys, so we're going to pick off where we left on the last video. So you remember we created this project section. It's nice and responsive as well. So when we go to smaller screens, you can see the project blocks take up more viewport space, and then on the smaller screens as well, it takes up 100% of the viewport. And yeah, so we have the hero section, we have our video, and now we have our project section implemented. Now let's move on to the Form Studio. We have this nice blog section. So if I just make this a bit bigger, you can see if we scroll up, go past the project section here, and then we get this blog text appear, and then we get the blog posts come into the viewport, stop halfway, and then they start shrinking and fading into the background. And yeah, the other blog posts just come in front of the previous ones. Okay, so we're going to be implementing that section and that effect, and then we're also just going to be creating this circular animation in this video as well. And then we're also just going to implement this text, this video, and then this final text reveal. So we've got a lot to cover in this final video of this series, so let's jump in. So let's go to our index.html file, and let's just get our blog section up and running. So we'll come to underneath our ID, projects ID section, and then we'll just say here, do another section. So say section here, give us an ID of blogs. So say ID of blog, sorry. And then we'll come in here and we'll just say .blog _hero. So this will just be that initial, it'd be like a full section with just the title with the blog wording in here. So we'll just come and do that now. I'll just say h2, and I'm going to give this a class of text reveal, because this is the class we're going to use to be animating that kind of reveal animation. And then here I'll just say blog, all capital letters. Okay, so let's come back here, let's scroll down, and now you can see there's our blog text appeared there in the bottom left hand corner. Okay, and I think that's actually pretty much it. So let's just what I also want to do here as well is I do have, if I go to my projects folder, I've created, so similar to what we did with the project section or the projects array up here, I've got a similar array for blog posts. So I'm just going to bring that over. So let's just copy this over here, and I'll come underneath this create projects function that we created in the last video, and I'm just going to paste that in here like so. So what this is, all I've got here is, again, it's similar to the above, the projects array. So for the blogs array, we just have 3 blog posts here. I've given so this array contains 3 objects, and it contains a title, which is the blog post title, and then the time, so the reading time, which I've just given random times here, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and 5 minutes, and then just an image that we're going to be using for the blog post panel that we're going to be bringing in. So now what I want to do, I want to create a similar create blogs function. So similar to what we did here with the create projects, I want to do the same thing for our blog posts. Okay, so to do that, we're just going to say const create blog posts, that's going to equal a function, because we're going to export this down below as well here, as this is a module. And here, so what we're going to do is just going to loop through each of our blog posts. So we can say blog posts dot for each, and then here we can just say post. And then for each post, so we're just going to create a blog section. So we say blog section, and that's going to equal document dot create element again. And we're going to say div. Okay, and then underneath this we can say blog post section, or blog section, sorry, and that should be post section. Let's just make this blog post section, and then sorry, what am I doing here? I'm being silly. Let's just change it back to blog post, and this should be blog post section, like so. And then we can say here blog post section dot class list dot add, and here we just want to add the class of blog post. So we just say blog _ post, and then under here we're next going to create an actual post div. So this will be, so basically the blog post section will take up the full screen, the full viewport, and this will just allow this sticky effect to work properly. And then the blog post, the post div will be the actual, these little divs here that contain the image, the blog post image, as well as the title and the reading time. So let's do that now. So we'll just say let post div equal, and again we'll just do document.element create div. And then if we come underneath that, I'll just say post div dot class list again, and we'll say dot add, and here we'll just say post, like so. And then we'll come under here, and next thing we want to do is just create an image container. So we'll say let image container, and again we're creating divs, so you can actually just copy this and paste it. And then we'll just say image container dot class list dot add, and here we'll just say post _image _container, and then we'll just say underneath this let image equal document dot create element, and we'll just we'll say just image, so an image element, and here we want to just say image dot class list dot add, and we'll just add the class of blog post _image, like so. And then underneath this we just want to say the image.source, so we'll set the source of this image, so say image.source, and it's just going to equal the post, so just say post.image. Just remember our images if we go to our array here, our images are actually just links to images, so we have these Unsplash images here, so we're setting those as the source for each of our posts. And then we can say here let post details, and again that's just going to be document.createElement div, and then we can just say post details dot class list dot add post _ details. So we're adding all these classes just for us to apply CSS to these elements. Okay, and then what we want to do is we'll say let post title equal documents dot create element, and we're just going to just create p elements here. So I'll just say for paragraphs I'll just change that div to p, and then we'll say post title dot inner text equals post dot title, like so. And then we'll do a similar thing just for the read time as well. So we'll just say post time, that's going to be a p tag again, and then we can just say here we said the time, so we have this time variable here, so I can just add that, so say time. And nearly done with this function, guys. So now that that's done, we can just say we want to get our image container dot append child, and we'll just append the image like so, and then we'll say post details dot append here, and we just want to append the post title as well as the post time. That should be, let's just spell time correctly. That should be time, and that should be time as well. So just say time here. Okay, and then we can say post div dot append child, or just append, sorry, not append child, because we want to append multiple elements. And we can just say image container and the post details. And then finally we can just say blog post section dot append child, and we'll just say post div, which is the initial div that we created up the top here. Okay, so this post div. And then what we want to say is we just want to say document dot query selector, and then we're just going to say, actually no, we do get element by ID. So get element by ID, and then we want to grab our blog section, which is obviously the one we created here, this blog section here, and then we're just going to say dot append child, and here I just want to append each blog post section like so. Okay, so now we can export this function, this create blog posts. Let's do that down here. Do a comma, say create blog posts, and then I want to import that into my app.js file. So here I'll just say create blog posts, and then what we can do is if we come up to the top here, underneath create projects, we can just say create blog posts as well. Okay, so we should have our blog posts appended. Let's just see if we've got any errors there. Looks like we have. Post time is not defined, and that is on line 131. So 131, and that should be time, like so. Okay, so it's looking good, and now you can see our blog posts have been applied to the blog section. So now we need to style these, obviously, because they're a bit, images are a bit big at the moment. So let's do that now. Let's come to our style.css, and then if we come underneath our project section here, I'll just say blog, and then let's get styling. So we'll just say we'll start off with our main blog section first, and here we're just going to say give this a height. And I want to give this a height of 400%, and the reason we're doing that is because we have our initial blog section with the blog text here, and then we have 3 blog posts. So we want each section to take up 100% of the viewport. So that's why we're times that by 4 and having a 400% height. Okay, and then we want to set the width to 100%, and then we can say display flex, and I'm also just going to say flex direction column, so they appear underneath each other, and then we can just say align items center, like so. Okay, so you can see that centered our text there, and it would also have centered our images as well. So let's come underneath this, and we'll go to our, we'll target next our blog hero, so say blog hero, as well as the blog post. So these will have the same styling. Remember, the blog hero is just this initial section we have here. It's this blog hero section, which just contains the blog text. And then the blog post is what we created in our function. So we come back to our project function. This blog post section here will just take up the full viewport, and it will contain the kind of post div. Okay, so what we're going to say here is a width of 100%, and then we want to give this a height of 25%. Okay, because obviously a quarter of 400, so 25% of a height of 400 will be 100. Okay, so that's what we're doing, that height of 100%, and now you can see that just takes up bang on 100% of the viewport for each of those sections, like so. Okay, and then we'll come underneath here and we'll just say again display flex, and I'm going to say here justify content center and align items center, like so. And then I also just want to say for these position sticky. So you say for each one we'll just say position sticky, and here we'll just say top of 0. And I'm going to set the max width of these to be our usual var max width. Okay, so now what you'll notice is if we scroll down, it should stop. And that's not... Okay, yeah, you can see that is stopping there. Okay, so let me just also... let's just try... I want to say overflow hidden for now. You can see they do stop now. So when we get to the top, you can see it sticks to the top of the viewport because they're all on position sticky now. Okay, so that's working. So now what I want to do here is let's just grab our blog title. Okay, so we'll say .blog _title. Again, I'm just going to say overflow hidden here. So if we go to our index, this is our blog. We got a blog title? I don't think we have actually. Ignore that. Sorry, no, let's just do blog hero and then we'll just target the H2. Or we can just say, yeah, let's target this text reveal, sorry. So let's do that now. Text reveal. I'll just say that. .text reveal. And I'll just say font size. Give this, we'll use our clamp technique. Smallest we want 2 rem. Then we'll say 20 CQI. And then 20 rem for the largest font. Okay, so there's our nice big block text now looking good. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is if we that's looking okay, so let's just grab our post next. Let's sort these actual posts out. So let's come under here, we'll say .post, and I just want to have these as a position of relative, and then we'll just say a width of 50%. We'll give them a height of, no, we'll give them a padding actually, which we'll come under here, we'll say padding of 1 rem. Give a nice bit of padding, and then we'll also just say, I'm going to give these a background color, so we'll just say background color of, let's make this white and we'll make it see-through. So we'll just bring the opacity down here to about, not quite a lot really. And we'll go to about, yeah, there. Okay, you can see we got that slight opacity, opaque background, and then we're also just going to apply here. This isn't on the actual website, this is just for my own personal taste. So I'm just going to say background color, and then we'll just say a backdrop filter. And we want to just apply a blur of, and I'm going to give this a 10 pixel blur. Okay, so you can see that slightly blurs out the background to give this kind of glass morphism effect. And then we also just want to apply a WebKit backdrop filter. So this works on mobile devices too. I'll just say 10 pixels. And then we'll just say we'll change as well transform, because obviously these divs are going to be, well, scaling backwards or going smaller as we scale or scroll a section. Okay, so that's that. Now next what I want to do is just grab our post image container, so say post _image _container, and here we'll just say overflow hidden, and then I'm also just going to say here position relative. We'll give these a width of 100%, like so, and then I'm going to specify the aspect ratio here to be 16:9, and there you go. So now you'll see when we scroll down, and then we get our blog posts appear like so. Okay, and then we get that sticky effect as well, so that's looking good. Now the next thing I want to do here is if we come to next, we'll just say .blog _post _image, and here I'm just going to say again position relative, and we'll say a width of 100%, give them a height of 100% as well. Okay, and then I'm also just going to say object fit cover, and this will just preserve their initial or original aspect ratio, so they look nice and clear now, the images. And then we're also just going to say object position of center, and that will center our images. Okay, so that's looking good. And then next thing we want to do is just grab our post details. So let's do that now. We'll say post _ details like so. And then we're going to display this with Flexbox, and this will bring the post details next to each other. You can see down here. And then we can just say a width of 100%. We'll say a height of 100% as well. Oh no, we don't want to say height. We don't. There's post details. Yeah, we'll say width of 100%, and then we'll say a margin top, of 1 rem. Just give them a bit of white space between that and the image, and then we'll just say justify content, space between, just to separate out the title. That should be space between, not space around, between. And there you go. That's looking good. Yep. And then the next thing we want to do is we'll just say. I'll just say .post details, and then we'll target the p tags, and then we'll just say font size. Just want to make these a bit smaller. We'll just say 0.8 rem, and there you go. Okay, so that's looking good. Now let's get the JavaScript up and running for this now. What I also want to do as well is on smaller screens. So if I come down here. Yeah, so when we're on smaller screens, these look a bit tiny actually, these posts. So I'm just going to say, if we come into our 600 pixels, I'll just say .post, and I'll give these a width of 80% of the viewport. Let's make them a bit bigger. Okay, so that's looking better. Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll leave it there. And now let's just get that animation, that JavaScript animation going for this. So we'll come back to our app.js file. Let's close these down. And let's come underneath our projects animation. And here we're just going to create a new function. And we're going to call this post animation. Okay, so let's just do post animation. And here I'm just going to say const blog section. That's going to equal document.get elements by ID, and we'll just grab our blog section. And then I'm also just going to get all of our blog posts. So we'll say const blog posts equals, and we'll just do a array using the spread operator here, and we'll just say document.query selector all, and we can just say .post. So let's just make sure we'll say console.log blog posts, and that a capital P. Let's go to our console here, and you can see we have our 3 blog posts listed there. Okay, and it picks up the div elements as well. So that's great. And now what I want to do is create a function called scroll blog post. So we'll say function scroll. We'll say function scroll blog posts, and here we're just going to say let blog section section top. That's going to equal, we're going to grab our blog section, let's make that capital S as well, yeah, our blog section, and we'll just say we'll use the get bounding client rect function, and we'll take the top. Okay, so that will just get our blog section, and when we scroll, it will just get the top of that section relative to the viewport top. Okay, so if it's at the very top, it'll be 0 pixels. And then what we're going to say here is we're going to loop through each of our blog posts. So we say for let I equals 0, whilst I is less than blog posts dot length. So we're looping through each one, iterating through each one. And then we'll say if blog posts I, so the iteration that we're currently on, so the current blog post section, and then we can say dot parent element, which will obviously be each of the sections, so the blog post sections. You'll see here if we come in to our blog section, what is going on? Why have we got an error? 76. Let's just take that out for now. So you'll see, yeah, in our blog post, we have each of these blog posts, and then we have the post. Okay, so each post has this parent element, this blog post, which takes up the full viewport. So that's what we're targeting here. That's the parent element, is these blog post divs here, which take up the full viewport. So we're just going to say if that blog post parent element, and we're going to use the .getBanningClientRect attribute again as well. .top, and we're going to say if that is less than or equal to 1, which means it's at the top of the viewport. That means the full section is in the viewport. That's when we want to start applying the transformations to the div panel, the blog post div panel here. So then we can just say, we'll say let offset equal, and here we're just going to take the blog section top, and then we're just going to add the window. Remember to put this in parentheses here. We're going to take the inner height, and then we are going to times this by I, so the iteration of the blog post we're on, plus 1. I'll tell you why we're doing the plus 1 in a second. And then we want to come out of here, and we just want to times this by a small amount so that the animation isn't too drastic. So we'll times that by 0.5, and I'll show you why we times by that small number shortly. But the reason we're adding the 1 here is because we just don't want to factor in I plus 1. We don't want to factor in that original blog section div that we have here. We don't want to consider that for any animation, so we're just going to leave that like so. And that's why we're adding this plus 1 here. So let me just do that as a comment. I'll just say plus 1 to account for the first blog title div. Okay, so we have our offset, and now what we want to do here is we're just going to say offset equals, and we're just doing the same technique we've used before, and we're just going to say if the offset is less than, we want to say -1 here, we want to keep it at -1, else if the offset is greater than or equal to 0, then we'll keep it at 0, else we'll just use the initial offset. That should be -1. Okay, and then what we can do now is just going to say blog posts I, and we want to take the style dot transform, and here we're just going to say scale. So we just say scale, and then we can just say use a template list rule here. We just say 1 plus the offset. Okay, so now if we scroll on our blog section, we'll go down here. You can see the blog comes into the viewport, and that isn't working. It's because we have to actually initiate this scroll blog post. So what I'm going to do here is if we come down to the bottom, because this isn't using the lerp function, we need to just do another thing here. So I'm just going to say main, take our main element, and we want to add a scroll event listener. So I'm just going to add event listener, listen up for a scroll, and then here we can just say scroll blog posts. Okay, so now when we scroll down, still not working because we have an error. Cannot set property top of which it has. Okay, so app.js 75. Okay, parent element, and that should be less than or equal to 1. Okay. Okay, so that's not working how I intended. You can see it's just disappearing for some reason. So let's try and see what's going on there. We'll just say, so let me just go over my code here. Okay, scroll blog posts. Let offset equals blog section top plus window.inner height times I plus 1. So -1, else if it's greater than or equal to 0, we'll keep it as 0, else offset. Blog post i.style.transform. So let's console.log. If I equals 1, then we'll just say console.log offset. Let's just take this here, do a bit of debugging here. Okay, so I have that, getting them by ID, const blog posts, and then we're saying here blog section dot get bounding client rect dot top. Okay. That's then equal to 1, so 1 pixel. And we're saying let offset equal blog section top. Maybe that was a typo. Okay, yeah, that works. Sorry, I had my parentheses in the wrong way here. So yeah, you have to do let blog section equals blog section dot top in parentheses plus window dot inner height times I plus 1, and then you have the 3 parentheses here. So yeah, just watch out for your bracket positioning there. But you can see now we're getting that effect, and that's looking good. And they fade into the background like so. Okay, so we made it. Now let's move on to the circle animation. Okay, so we're going to next come into our index.html, and then under here, let's just create another section, and I'm going to give this an ID called circle section. Okay, and then in here, I'm just going to say a div with a class of circle sticky, like so, and then in here we'll just have a h2, and we'll use the TBI. I think that's the wording they use on this. Yeah, TBI, like so. And then we'll also just say we'll have a div of a class of circle container. So I'll just say dot circle container, and then we'll have another div of a class of circle. Okay, and that's it for our circle section HTML. So now we can come to our style.css, and we'll just do circle section. Okay, so in the circle section, what we want to do is I'm just going to say, so circle section, and here we can just say position relative, and I'm going to give this a height of 200%. So it just takes up 200 viewports basically. Okay. Yep. Okay. And then the next thing I want to do is this circle section. It should be circle. Okay. And now, yeah, you can see that takes up 200 viewports, that circle section. And then next thing I want to do here is just target our circle sticky. So we'll come under here, dot circle sticky, and then we can say position sticky as always, and then we'll just say again top 0, and we'll give this a width of 100% and a height of 50% to take up one. Obviously 50% of 200 is 100. Okay, so that's why we're taking up just a full viewport with the 50% there. Okay, so now that that's done, let's do the circle container next. So I can just say dot circle container like so, and then we can just say position absolute. We'll just say top 0, left 0, width 100%, and a height of 100%. Let's just see what we're working with here. Set the background color to red, and there you go. There's our sticky section. Okay, so now let's specify the overflow to be hidden here as well. Say overflow hidden, and then let's just grab our circle next. So I'll say dot circle. So we give it class of circle here. I'm just going to say position absolute. We'll say left of 50%. So we want to center this circle. We'll say top of 50%. And then we want to translate this. So we'll say transform. Transform translate minus 50%, minus 50%. And then here, what we want to do is say a width of 150 Vmax. A height of 150 Vmax. And what Vmax does is it looks at the viewport and it assesses which is the largest, either the height or the width. So it takes the width and the height and it determines which one of those is the largest, and it will then apply. This will be like 150%. For example, as on this viewport here, the height is the largest out of the height from the width. So it will be 100%. It'll take up 150% of the height as opposed to the width. Vice versa, if we have a width that's wider than the height, it will take up 150% of the height instead. So that's what that Vmax unit does. And then we can just say here background color of white. Okay, as you can see, that's white now. And I also want to say I want to scale this at 0 first. So we'll say scale 0, so you can't see that. Okay, and then we'll just give it a border radius of 50% to make it a circle. Okay, and then I think that's pretty much it. And then also what I want to do now is just say, I will say dot circle sticky. Once we grab that H2, and I'm just going to say font size, use our clamp method again, say clamp, and then we can say 2rem 20 CQI, and then largest will be 20 rem, and then we'll just go give this color of black, this text, say black, and then give it a Z index of 1. Okay, so let's now get this animation going. So we can say here, let's just see if that is there, that text, so circle TBI. Okay, circle sticky H2, font size, sticking okay. Also with the circle sticky is let's we'll display this with flexbox. So I'll just say display, because I want to center that text. Say display flex, then we'll say justify content center, and align items center. Okay, and you can see, okay, our text is appearing now. TBI, there it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so now that's it. Let's go to our JavaScript again. We've done our styling for that part, and then we can just animate our circle next. So I'll come under here and I'll just say circle animation, And then we're just going to say, first we need to grab some elements. So we'll say const circle section. It's going to equal document dot get elements by ID. Want to grab that circle _section. Just copy it. Yep, circle section here. And then underneath this, we'll say const circle is going to equal document dot query selector dot circle, like so. And then we're just going to do another function here called scroll circle. And here, what we want to say, we're just going to grab the top. So we'll say let destructure top from the circle section dot get bounding client rect. Okay, and then so what that'll do, obviously, as always, that will take it'll just monitor the top position of our circle section relative to the viewport top. And then we can come under here and we'll say let scale top equal, and we just want to use the math.absolute function, and this will just take in that top. Okay, so that means if our circle section top goes beyond the top of the viewport, so it's in the negative numbers, it will just convert that negative to an unsigned integer and make it a full positive number. So it will remove the minus basically with that maths absolute function. And then what we want to do with that scale top is we'll say let scale, and that we're going to take that scale top and we're just going to divide that by the window dot inner height. Okay, and then with this we'll say scale equals, and we'll say scale if it's less than 0, then we'll keep it at 0. Else, if scale is greater than 1, we'll keep it at 1. Else, we'll just use the scale. And then here we'll say if the top is less than or equal to 0, then we'll say circle. That should be circle. Yeah, we'll say circle dot style dot transform equals, and we'll say a template list rule here, translate, and we need to still maintain, because obviously we have this 50-50 minus 50%, so we need to keep that, we need to maintain that, so we'll say that here, translate minus 50 minus 50, and then we also want to say scale, and then we want to take in that scale variable. Else, we'll say here, I'll copy this down. So that means if it's basically, if the top of our circle section isn't at the top, or it's below the top of the viewport, then what we can say here is just keep it at 0, just so we can't see that circle in the viewport. And then what I also want to do is just run this on our scroll. So we'll just say scroll circle. Okay, so now if I come down, that should be working. So we have our blog section here, that goes up, and then we get to the sticky section here, and we have an error. Okay, scroll circle, so can't read properties of null at 96. Okay, so circle, and that should be circle as well. Obviously I've got a typo there, so say circle. Try that again. And now you can see if we so if we actually just get our, no, above me, let's just change that to capital. So if we just get our circle section, and we'll just put a let's put a border around this, just so you can see how this effect's working. We can say border 1 pixel solid red, like so. And then if we come down here, okay, so there's our section here, our circle section. Once that gets to the top of the viewport, that's when the animation starts happening, because what we're doing in our JavaScript, we're saying we're getting the top of our circle section, and we're saying if that top is less than or equal to 0, which means it's at the top of the viewport here, then we can start beginning this scale animation. And that's what we're doing. We're using basically the top, or the circle section top, and then we're basically just dividing that that scale top by the window.inner height. And then as we move, we get that nice effect, that nice smooth growth effect. So that's looking good. That's it for our circle animation. So we're flying through this. Let's just finish up now. Let's get these final touches on the website. So next we want to do here, we have that section. If we come here, we just have this this text that animates in here. So we'll quickly do that now. So again, underneath our circle section, we'll have just this discover section. So the section here, I'll give us an ID of discover, like so. And then in here, we'll have a div of a class of discover _ container. That should be a lowercase c. And then what we want to say here is p, and I'm going to give this a class of text left. And then let's just copy this text. Copy this down, change that left to right, and I'll just replace it with this text here, like so. Okay, and that's it. So now let's just style this with CSS again. So I'll come here, underneath our circle section, we'll just do our discover section. Okay. Okay, and then in our discovery section here, what we can say is, we'll just say discover, and we'll just say, obviously want to give us a background color of white. Okay, and then we can say here, underneath, we'll say dot discover container. And I'm just going to say, we'll give it the text a color of black, and then I want to give this a min height of 100 VH, or 100%, sorry. And let's just see. Discover. Let's discover. Let's give it a height of 200%, and then here we'll just give this a height of 50%. Okay, so that's looking good now. And then what we can do here is I'm just going to say we'll display flex. So we'll just say display flex. I don't want that color black in there, actually. It doesn't make sense to put that there. We'll say display flex. We'll justify the content as center. We'll align items to the center as well to center the text. You won't be able to see it at the moment. Where is our text? Okay, it's here. So what I want to do is let's just we'll say dot discover container. Target the p elements, give these a color of black, and we'll just do a wheel change transform, like so. And then yeah, that's fine. And then what I also want to do, so we line out some center here. We'll do flex direction of column as well. Bring it underneath each other, and then also we'll just say discover container. Let me just see his page a second. So what he's done there, Okay, yeah, so it's not really a sticky, they just transform it in like so. So we don't need to do any sticky elements there. So let's just leave that like so, and then I'll also just say, give it a font size. Yeah, font size here. Do 1.4 rem, just make it a bit bigger. And yeah, we'll just say overflow hidden for the container. So there's no bleed. Okay, yep. And now let's just get the animation working for this. So to do that, I'm just going to say here, and this doesn't need to be, this just needs to be 100%, and this can be 100% as well. Okay, so let's just get the animations working for this now. So we'll do the discover text animation, and to do that, what we want to do here is if we just grab our const left text, say const left text equals document dot query selector, and we'll just say text dot text _ left. Same for the right, and change that to right. And then if we come under here, we're just going to say function scroll discover, so there's a discover section, and here we're just going to get to the bottom of our so the text left, and we can just get this discover container as well. So let's just do that now. If we come to the top here, I'll just say const d container equals documents.query selector dot discover container, and then here we can say d container, and then we want to say dot get bounding client rect. Okay, yeah, and we've destructured the bottom from that. And then with that, what we want to do, we'll just say let text trans. We'll create a text trans variable, and that's just going to equal the bottom, and we're just going to minus the window.inner height. Okay, so when that when we get to the bottom of this here, and we're taking away the window.inner height, that will be 0. So that's when we want our transformation to have finished, when this full section is in the viewport. And then what we can then do with that is say text left, or left text rather, dot style dot transform equals, and here we can just say translate x, and here we'll just say for the left text, let's just take that that text trans and give it a minus sign, and then we'll do pixels, and then we can do the same thing for the right text, and then we'll just say text trans pix, and then we can add this to our function as well, our scroll function. So we'll say scroll discover, and then if we come down here, that should be working now, that effect. You can see, yeah, that when that comes into the frame, that's looking good. Okay, and then obviously we don't want this to continue, so like always, we're just going to take that text trans, we're just going to say equals, and if text trans is less than 0, then we don't want it to translate anymore, keep it at 0. Else we'll just do text trans. Okay, and that is working. So we're nearly there, guys. Next thing we want to do is just get this video and then this bottom section here. So let's do that now. It comes our index.html, and then I'm just going to say section, and we'll give this an ID of end video, and then here we're going to use a div with the class of shim like we did in the previous video section, and this will just allow us to be able to scroll past the video on mobile devices. And then we also just want to say .end video container, and then here we'll just say video, and we'll give this a class of end video, like so, and we'll use the previous parameters we had for our first video. So once it obviously autoplay this, keep it muted, loop the video, and plays in line for mobile devices. So I'll just copy that and paste that here, like so. And then let's just get this actual video from this website, from Form Studio. So I have the link here. I'm just going to copy that and paste that in my source attribute. So now if we come back to our development website here, you can see there's our video. And then what I want to do, let's just style this quickly. So we'll come to our style.css, and then we'll just grab our, we'll say end video. And here I'm just going to say, so hashtag end video for the end video section. Say position relative, we'll say background color of white to keep it in, make sure, if it does kind of bleed at all, we want to keep it the same background color as this second section here when we've done this animation. And then we're also just going to say here, so after the end video, we'll say display flex, and we'll just say justify content center. Okay, now let's come to the end _video _container, again position relative, and we'll give this a width of 100%, and I also just want to give this a height of 100% as well. And yeah, so let's just say we'll give this a height of 100%. I want to give this video container a height of 100%. And yeah, that should do. And then what we can next do, if we just get our end video next, so say .end video, and then we can say here position, and this want to keep this absolute, we'll say top 0. I want to give this a width of 100% and also a height of 100%, and we'll just say object fit cover. Okay, so yeah, that's looking good. Now when we scroll down, that fills the viewport nicely. Okay, so that's great. And then finally, let's just get the footer sorted. So if we come back to our index.html file, and then if we just go, we'll just do another section under here, say section, and then I'm just going to give this an ID of footer. And then if we come in here, we'll say .footer _container, and then we can just say .footer _title, and then we'll just do a h2 with a class of text reveal, and I'll just say Conor. Okay, and then let's now style this. So we'll come back to our style.css, and we'll just say footer, and here we can just say hashtag footer, like so, and then I want to give this a height of, we'll say 50%. Let's just take out 50% of the viewport, like so, and then we can just say here, I want to give this actually a background color of white as well, so say background color white, and we'll say display flex, and we'll just say justify content center and align items center. That's it for our footer section, and then we'll just say footer container, and we're going to give this a width of 100% and a max width of var max width, and then again we'll just say display flex, and we'll just copy this justify content center and align item center as well, just to center the text. So that's nice and centered now. And then we'll just say dot, we got a footer title on here, yeah, footer title. We done a, yeah, we got a text over, so that's overflow hidden, that's fine. And I think, yeah, so we'll just say what we want to do as well is just say for all span elements, because we're going to be converting these overflow elements into spans, so I'm just going to say color black. And also let's just do that to, yeah, let's just grab this and I'll just say footer title H2. Okay, so there's our text, and then I think, yeah, what I also want to do here is I just want to get all of our spans and just say display inline block, and this will allow us to basically just do that kind of reveal animation on each individual letter. Because what we're going to do with this text reveal animation when this comes to the viewport is we're just going to change this to each individual letter to have its own span, so we can then perform individual translations on the letters. And to do that we need to just display with inline block, and then we can just say here transform translate Y 100%. Okay, and yeah, and then also we just say transition of 0.5 seconds. Okay, so now, and if I just actually come to our footer, just do overflow hidden here. Okay, just don't want any bleed, and then can we also say that here, overflow hidden. What I do want to actually do here is just, if we go to our text reveals, let's just give these a line height of 1. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine, because what we're going to do, we're going to convert these letters into spans anyway. So let's do this now. Okay, so now let's come to our JavaScript. Let's get this reveal, this sort of text reveal effect working, up and running. This is the last part of the project, really. We'll be finished then. So what we need to do here is let's just grab all of our text reveals first. So we'll come underneath this scroll discover, and we'll just say text reveal. And what we want to do first is just get all of our text reveal sections. So we say let text reveals equal, use an array with a spread operator, and we'll just say document dot query selector all, and we'll just grab all of our text reveals. So say text reveal, and now if we console.log the text reveals, okay, so we have the two elements. So the first, what's the first one? That'll be this blog section here. I also want to just put this on our initial header as well, so this one here. So I'll just add this text reveal class up here as well, and now you can see we have the 3 elements. So the first one, the second one, which is the blog text here, and the final one, which will be this one down the bottom. And then what we want to do with these text reveals, so let's come come down here, text reveal. Okay, so let's just create another function. So I'm just going to say let's callback, because we're going to be using the Intersection Observer API for this. And what this function will do, it will take in all of the entries, which in this case will be our text reveal elements. And then what we're going to say here is we're going to loop through each of our entries, dot for each entry. And here we're just going to say if the entry, and with the intersection observer, we get this is intersecting attribute, which means it's in the viewport basically. So if it's in the viewport, if it is intersecting the viewport, then we can say we want to target all of the span elements. Okay, so we're just going to say entry target, which will be the actual element, so the H2 element, and then we want to query select to all of the span elements within that H2, and then we can say for each, and then we want to take in the span, and the for each function also passes in the index. And then what we can do with this is we can just say we want to set timeout, and this takes in the callback function itself. And here we can just take that span element, so each of the individual span elements, .style, .transform, and that's just going to equal translate 0 on the y-axis, and that will just bring them into the viewport. Okay, and then for the timing for this, we'll just do a comma here, and we'll just say we'll take that index, and we want to add 1, and then we just want to times that by 50 milliseconds. And the reason we're adding 1 here is because obviously the first index will be 0, and therefore there won't be any kind of delay. So we just want to add that 1 just to add the delay to the animation timing. Okay, so that's the callback that's going to be called once the elements are in the viewport using the intersection observer. Now the other thing we need to specify is some options here, and that's just going to equal an object, and we can specify the root margin. And we're just going to keep this at 0 pixels. That means there's no kind of margin here. The full element has to be in the viewport for the animation or this callback to be generated or triggered. And we'll just say threshold of 100% as well. Okay, and now let's create this intersection observer. So I'm just going to say let observer equal new intersection observer, and we're just going to pass in the callback function as well as the options that we specified here. And then now what we want to do is want to loop through each of our text reveals elements, and we're just going to say for each text, and then we're going to create a string variable here, and we're going to say text.innerHTML, so that's text.inner text, sorry. So if I console.log that string, you'll see we get Conor, blog, and Conor. That's working in the console. And then what we're going to do now is say let's HTML equal, and that's going to be a blank string. And then we're going to loop through each letter in our string variable. So we'll say let I equal 0, whilst that's less than the string.length, I++. And then we'll say HTML plus equals, and we'll wrap the letter in span tags. So say span, do a template literal here, and say string I to get that letter that we're on, and then close that span tag. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the text and set the inner HTML of that text to equal the HTML string. Okay, so let's just say equals HTML. And then if I console.log the HTML, you'll see that we get the span, C, span, and then, so all the letters are wrapped in the spans. And this is going to be used just to get that overflow or that reveal animation. So now we're just going to observe the text element, parent element. Okay, so now that that's done, can see that's all working fine. Seems to be getting the reveal now. let's just adjust the CSS. I'm just going to take off the 100% transform. And I might just need to refactor this because, yeah, let's just remove that, take out that black. Okay, bear with me a second, guys. Okay, why can't we see that bottom one now? Just going to add change the colour of that to black. No, I think I need to target the actual span elements. Let's change that to span. Okay, that's black now. I'm going to put this text reveal up the top in my global settings. Makes more sense to be there. Just put it underneath this section element for area for now. I'm just trying to think how I can get this overflow, this reveal animation working. So if I just console.log the entry, just want to make sure this is working. So if I go to the terminal, go to the console, you can see that is being logged when we when the element comes into the viewport. It should so that blog one's showing up in the console, and so is that bottom one. Just going to create another element here. So text reveal span, and we'll just say transform translate by 100%. Why is that not translating? Take the observer off for a second. Okay, so it doesn't look like these have translated for some reason. These span elements, we can still see them. We shouldn't be able to see them, even though I've translated them 100%. Okay, what we need to do is display inline block, of course. Okay, yeah, that's worked now. So now I just need to reinitiate that intersection observer. Let's uncomment that. Now if we refresh, okay, I just need to add a transition as well. So we'll come to our span and say transition of 0.5 seconds. And now that works, brilliant. Okay, and then when we get to our blog section, you can see that reveal works there as well. Get that nice effect, and then it should come in for our last footer text as well, and there it is. Now what I do want to actually do is just adjust the translate to 110%, just so we cannot see the text when we first load the page at all. Now if I refresh this, that looks better. Go down to the blog section to see if that looks okay. Yeah, that looks good. And then for the footer, we'll come down and it should have a nice reveal effect. And there it is, looking good. Okay, great. That looks good to me. So I'm going to leave this there, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Obviously, we had a lot to get through in this video, but yeah, I think it's a really nice website, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this case study. But yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.